We are live. Welcome, everyone, to the Kidney Trails Virtual Summit 2022, where things are looking up. We're looking up, going far, doing as much as we can do. So we're really excited about it. Really excited about this next session that we have. Hopefully, I don't feel too bad after the session because I think it has something to do with dietary enhancements. I think that's what I said to somebody. The renal dietary enhancements. That's right. That's about what I can say. So what we're going to do is I want to introduce you to our next speaker. She's a renal dietitian. She has done fabulous work. She does a lot of posting on social media, bringing awareness to the renal diet, the way of renal diet eating. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Karla Cofffee-Dunning. Karla, take it away.
All right. Hi, everybody. Hi, the virtual world. My name is Karla. I'm a dietitian. I know it's around lunchtime. I know people get it's very sensitive when we talk about food, but we also have to recommend the kidney diet. And my main theme today I'm going to talk about is called kidney and carbs. And what are carbs? Carbs are carbohydrates. It's something that we need. Your body needs it for energy. The carbs break down to glucose when you eat or drink. And glucose or blood sugar is one of the main sources of the energy for your body, tissues, and organs. And really, people don't realize one of the main reasons why people are on dialysis is because of uncontrolled diabetes. With type 2 diabetes, the pancreas still makes insulin, but insulin does its job in the body. And so glucose is just hanging around and builds up into the blood. And the pancreas makes even more insulin to get the glucose into the cells. And so people ask all the time, what is a good blood sugar level for me as a diabetic? And I'm trying to control my diabetes. Your blood sugar should be less than 80 to 130 before meals. That's fasting glucose, 80 to 130. And also never take your blood sugar right after you eat because generally it's going to be kind of high. And it should be less than 180 2 hours after a meal. Also, a lot of people, we always treat blood sugar with orange juice. You never treat a low blood sugar with orange juice if you have kidney issues. You want to treat high blood sugars with unsweetened apple juice or unsweetened cranberry juice or grape juice. Again, when you have good blood sugars, your potassium level goes down. So again, unsweetened apple juice, unsweetened cranberry juice, unsweetened grape juice. And also you want to choose whole grain, whole wheat breads. People I know on the kidney diet, we always talk about white bread, but always want to use whole grain, whole wheat bread. Cereals, pasta, brown rice, not white rice. And again, you want to choose whole grain, whole wheat bread. And then you want to try cereals or pastas 1/3 of a cup. Always want to look for lower sodium snacks, popcorn, and other snack foods. And a lot of times it will say on the label, low sodium. And it's so very important to get your sodium controlled and not to eat pizza, not to eat all those fast foods in a crunch. And the whole thing, what our goal is, and there's a goal as a renal dietitian, and as a dietitian in general, is want you to eat well with diabetes for your lifestyle. You want to choose whole foods and high fiber, like carbohydrates such as blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. All of these things are high in fiber. And you want to choose things high in fiber because it also is going to help level out your blood sugar and also help you to feel fuller for a long periods of time. And so what are some of the best foods that are high in fiber for people who have diabetes as well as chronic kidney disease? You always can go with the apple with the skin. You have a half a cup of blueberries. We're excellent. You can always do 1 plum. We have raspberries, a half a cup. Strawberries, or you can even do a blueberry mix, a half a cup. And I always recommend graham crackers. 2 squares, and also cooked cereals like oatmeal will always be very beneficial for people who have diabetes. And so also the goal too, I did not speak on that for diabetes, if you have chronic kidney disease, is to have an A1C every 3 months under 7. So your goal should be under 7 for a A1C level. So let's talk about carbohydrates and foods. What are carbohydrates and how do we really look at how much a food has? Well, the first place that I will always look will be the nutritional facts label. The nutritional facts label will tell you everything that you need to know in nutrition. And when you look at a nutritional facts label, you look at serving size, and this says 1 slice of bread, and always want to look at total carbohydrates. And so this bread is exactly, as far as mathematical, as far as a dietitian, it tells us. So 1 slice of bread has 15 grams of carbohydrate. A half an English muffin will be 15 grams of carbs. We can say 1 small fruit is 15 grams of carbs. This is a little large, so this would probably be about 30 grams of carbohydrates. A half a cup of corn, or some places will tell you only 1/3 of a cup of corn has 15 grams of carb. 1/3 cup of cooked rice or pasta is the recommendation serving size for diabetics. And then I always recommend people have measuring cups. Measuring cups are going to be your friend, especially when you want to put food on a plate. And also 1 cup of unsalted popcorn would be a serving size. 3 graham crackers would be 15 grams of carbs. If you like vanilla wafers. Also, I didn't touch on animal crackers. Animal crackers are low in phosphorus, low in potassium, and they're also low in sugar. So these animal crackers, you can have 9 crackers, and so that'll be a serving size. And also, I know here in the South, since I am from Atlanta, Georgia, and then they eat a lot of biscuits. And so a half of a biscuit will be 15 grams of carbs, and also half of a hamburger or a hot dog bun, and a half a cup of grits. I know we eat a lot of grits here, or you can do a half a cup of oatmeal will also be a serving size. And then the thing I also want to touch on is kidney friendly or diabetic snacks. You always eat fruit with a meal. You always want to eat fruit with a meal or protein. That's why you will see cottage cheese, or you will have with fruit, or you will have Greek yogurt with some type of fruit. And also, if you are baked or like to eat baked or sweets, always try to make all your baked sweets at home. And also another thing too, as far as kidney patients, I do recommend protein bars, but there are so many protein bars out there on the market. I always tell kidney patients, you always want to try protein bars that have 10 grams or less of protein and 200 milligrams less of sodium. So just want to watch out for protein bars that are loaded with like 20 grams of protein, because we know on the kidney diet, and I didn't touch on that also, the recommendation on average is 70 grams of protein per day if you have chronic kidney disease. So also that's only about 6 ounces of meat. So that is not a lot of protein to have in a day. So you always want to choose the protein bar, again, that has about 10 grams or less of protein, and 200 milligrams or less of sodium, because we always have to watch out for our salt, our carbohydrates. And on average, you should always choose protein bars that have 250 calories or less if you're trying to lose weight. So always 250 if you're trying to lose weight, 200 less than sodium, and 10 grams or less of protein. So it's a lot of label reading, but it's a lot of just looking on the food label and finding things that you like. You want to kind of stay away from nuts. Again, nuts are going to be a little bit high in phosphorus. And also too, people always ask me another thing about peanut butter. Peanut butter, yes, kidney patients can have peanut butter, not the whole jar of peanut butter, but you can have 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. I always recommend the natural peanut butter. Natural peanut butter is going to have a little less salt. And also, like peanut butter is going to have, again, 3 grams of fiber and 7 grams of protein per 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. And also you can put that on an apple. You can pair this peanut butter on with the apple. And then also you could do a half a sandwich or 1 whole wheat tortilla. I always kind of tell people, always want to do the tortilla. You can do a 1 whole wheat. You don't have to use bread, but I always want, if you do love Mexican food, and I love Mexican food, you always want to use like a whole wheat tortilla rather than a flour tortilla, just because it's going to have a little bit more, it's going to have a little bit more carbs, but also the whole wheat is a better choice. And also you could do half a sandwich. And then the recommendation for like the half a sandwich would be 2 ounces of sliced turkey and 1 ounce of thinly sliced Swiss cheese. And a lot of people ask me, well, how do you know about meat? And how do you know? You can always get you a meat scale. You can always get a scale. And so you can get these a kitchen scale. It'll kind of tell you about the amount of meat that you need, and it actually tell you, because this is very important, especially when you're in the beginning stages of chronic kidney disease, because you're trying to make sure you have, on average, 70 grams of protein or less. And then that's kind of my spiel on carbs and kidney, making sure that people always want to read the food label. Carbs, we do need carbs on average, and just making sure that you add at least 2 cups of fresh and frozen vegetables every day to your diet. And yes, kidney patients can have spinach, raw spinach, but make sure it's only 2 cups or less if you're trying to watch out for your potassium level. And again, no Coca-Colas. And then again, you want to kind of do like a ginger ale type of situation. Okay, questions or anything? Because I did like a boom spiel because I didn't know my time frame with the constraints.
That was great. I mean, we got plenty of time. If anybody has questions or anything you want to talk about, Karla. One of my favorite snacks back when I was on dialysis was the low sodium popcorn.
Okay.
So, that was very good. That was my snack that I used to take in.
Okay, well, good. I hope I did that. And everything. And then the whole thing is just trying to make sure people are not aware, of the kidney diet, especially when they get first diagnosed. They meet with the nephrologist, and you just want to make sure you give people an understanding that it's totally doable. But I guess as a dietitian, I just want to make sure people get away from all the fast foods, and that you can actually do a kidney diet with your, with your lifestyle.
Right. Now, here's a question. I don't see anything in our chats right now, but what kind of, if somebody has to eat the renal diet way, what kind of changes should they expect?
You're going to kind of expect, you're going to have better numbers. When we talk about better numbers, also the first thing you're going to expect is you're going to lose a little bit of weight, because it's going to be a lot of portion size changes. And then especially like a lot of times you want to monitor a person's phosphorus is going to be controlled. Your blood pressure should be a little bit controlled, better controlled, and your potassium. So your numbers are going to also, you want to look for stability, especially I counsel a lot of people that we get people in stage 3 kidney issues, or we get kidney transplants. People come in and they, you first get your transplant, it's like you're a brand new person, and they go out and they eat all this food. But then sometimes, I guess, when they go to their yearly appointment, they kind of see their potassium, and they kind of see they got to tweak some things. And then, of course, a lot of them do gain weight. And so you just want to kind of bring them in and say, this is a total life change, because really the kidney diet is just based on a plant-based diet and just cutting out different things to kind of tweak it. So I would recommend, I would suggest it's going to be a positive change if they start eating a renal diet way.
Excellent. Excellent. And one thing is, I think, is when somebody starts a renal diet, or just say they're on dialysis as they start, a lot of times it's easier to see the negative things that you can't have.
Right.
But, what about the things that you can have? How could we spice some of that stuff up, so to speak?
Well, yeah, it's a lot of stuff that you can do far as to spice the things up. Far as you can do a lot more with the dinners. You can do more, I guess you could do like spins off on, because a lot of people are diabetic. So you could do a little bit more baking, or you could do you can even bring some flavor to it, bring a lot more Mexican dishes in there, cilantro. You can use a lot of herbs and spices to kind of spice it up and stop doing the regular baked chicken. But the thing here in the South, people want to eat fried foods. So that's kind of, I want to eat my fried chicken. So I always kind of tell people you can do oven fried chicken, but you can use, corn crumbs. You can use, corn flakes to bake your chicken. You can even use an air fryer. But it's just getting people to cook a little bit more from home, and just to recognize too, try to eat more vegetables. And that's that, you still have people who don't even like to eat salads, adding a side salad and just making a lifestyle change. Instead of doing green beans, you can do asparagus. And then now, since we're in this inflation thing, so food is very high across the board. Even these items are kind of expensive now. So it's a little bit, you just have to give people motivation. And so when I do speak to people or do educate people, I give them the things that they can have. And I try to give them a better alternative, because people love Coca-Cola. And you want to tell them, well, no, you can't have Coca-Cola, but you can have zero sugar Sprite, or you can do zero sugar like root beer. So you have to give people a little bit more alternatives. And then I want to try to tell people again, you don't have to use this orange juice to bring that sugar up. I think a lot of people do that. You can use sparkling water, or you can do, unsweetened apple juice. You can do a lot more things to try to make some changes.
Excellent. Excellent. I think that's phenomenal. Now, here's another question that I have. I'm still looking at the chats, making sure that there's no other questions from audience. So if you give me just a second, but when it comes down to this, one thing is, this week is Laboratory Professional Week, where we celebrate the laboratories. And what kind of role does the laboratories play for you as a dietitian into treating your patients and giving them the great patient care?
Oh, great. I mean, we're just like a doctor, we read in lab, it gives us a snapshot. And I tell people, it's not everybody thinks when they come in, they're special. This doesn't apply to me. So I love to use lab as just a guide. I just use the numbers as a guide. I need to see about a person's phosphorus. I have to see if it's below 5.5. I have to see a person's potassium. I have to look at the blood pressure. I look at even the GFR. I just have to see where they are. And then that just gives me just a snapshot about what the things we need. And also the blood sugar, the A1C. So we're constantly using labs as snapshots just to analyze, a person care. I mean, that's the first thing you learn as being a dietitian, how to read labs, interpreting labs. That's all I do all day. And then then I'm a counselor. So then you got to be a psychologist, because everybody has a life story and everybody is different. I'm different from everybody else. I don't eat this food, but I eat Popeye's chicken. Everybody's different. So you have to be like a psychologist. I use reverse psychology. it's crazy. You know, you think that people are all really all the same, no matter what economic background or ethnicity, people are people. So we do a lot with labs as far as to make a nutritional plan. And we also use that as goal setting. So we use that as well. And now you know that even in most of your dialysis centers, they use labs again to determine, again, their patient care, and also it's driven. So labs are very, very important as a dietitian. That's one of the first things you do learn.
Awesome. Now we do have a question, and this is from Diane. She's asking, how can people work themselves off of sodas? So I'm guessing if somebody, you know, if you drink a lot of sodas, I can imagine that's kind of difficult. So what tips or advice could you give along that line?
Well, I love sodas, and I did struggle with that. The first thing I would recommend, I wouldn't recommend a diet soda, but I would recommend, have they ever tried like a sparkling water? And so what I would do, I know I would try to wean you off. If you on like a 12-ounce can a day, I would try to wean you off. And then it's another smaller can. It's like it's like a 7.5 ounce, the one they give you like in a little airport. And so I'll cut you down to that every other day. So that's what I would do. And also too, I'm recommending too, if you eat lunch, if you can't really drink water, they do have a sparkling water, and that's 0.000 if you're trying to get off sodas. Because I know it's just moderation. You can have regular ginger ale or regular Coke. You just have to cut down your portion size. So you're just weaning yourself off until you don't do it. But people don't realize though, juice has more sugar than, you know, a can of Coke or than soda. So if you're doing a lot of juice, you're still gonna have to make sure you only do 1 cup of juice, or one, you know, you have to really measure the juice. So the juice is more detrimental than the soda.
And if you could, for our audience, could you explain that a little bit more in detail of how juice has a little bit more sugar in it than soda?
Okay, juice, and that's why we always kind of recommend, juice naturally has sugar in it. And so again, when they process juice, and if you notice here, a lot of juice is not going to be real juice unless it says juicy juice or you're juicing it. And so they add a lot of additives, they add a lot of things to juice because it's made from concentrated. So I would recommend unsweetened juice. And so a lot of times, see, people think, oh, I don't drink sodas, but they will drink this 64-ounce carton in about 1 or 2 days. So it's very, very important to remember juice, especially if you have children. You always want to make sure that little sippy, they have those little small little boxes. So that's the kind of be, as an adult, that is the portion we need to look at. So I always kind of tell people, just watch out for the juice. And a lot of people now, they don't even have breakfast or small juice glasses. So that's why juice is, you know, will have a lot more sugar than sodas.
Okay.
Because, if you look at this ginger ale, it only has 33 grams of sugar. So, and you compare that to maybe an Ocean Spray kind of cranberry juice, it has like 54 grams of sugar. So that's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. You know, one of the other questions is, what about smoothies? I know for on any recommendations or any thoughts on that? I'd say thoughts on that.
Okay, with smoothies, I kind of recommend you still want to use kidney-friendly options like blueberries, raspberries, apples, strawberries. But the thing about smoothies is you want to make sure you add at least 10 grams of protein per 8 ounces, just because protein helps level out the blood sugar. You also want to be kind of leery if you go to the Smoothie King or some type of smoothie shop all the time, because again, they may have added sugars, and you have to watch out for that. So you always, as a kidney patient, you have to remember, I only can have 70 grams of protein in this whole day. So I can't get a super high protein smoothie. So if you like to do smoothies in the morning, make sure they're 8 ounces or less. And for per 8 ounces, you just want to make sure it's 10 grams of protein.
Okay. And how could somebody track all the different, far as the different, what they're drinking? Is there a certain tracker or a certain method that you teach people on how to keep better control of their diet? Is there like a food journal or something that you recommend? Not just a food journal, but how would you recommend them doing that?
A lot of people, some people, everybody don't have access to like a food. I think it's like they do have food trackers that you can buy online. But again, like you said, you could do a food journal. But in general, I just say buy the measuring cups. Measuring cups are going to be the way to help you track your portion size if you actually will write it down. And actually, you can actually, I think they do have a food tracker. So to teach people, I first start off with just measuring cups. Can you give me at least at least 2 cups of vegetables? Do you know what 6 ounces of meat looks like? So once you're able to get it down and able to actually plate, a half a cup, a 1/3 of a cup of cooked rice or pasta, not your whole plate being nothing of starches, then I think that method, if the eyeballing method, would be better. Because some people do like to use their phone, the techie people, but most older people, they're not going to do that. You have to use measuring cups.
Awesome. Is there any questions from our audience in the Zoom room? If they are, just raise your hand and you can unmute and ask Karla any questions you may have. We're checking our other social medias, making sure there's no questions from any of that. Great presentation. I love having all the food back there so we can actually see a visual. I think it makes a difference, and it does help people to understand a little bit more, more about that. So, I can tell you the renal diet may not be the easiest diet to go by, but if you do it, if you're a renal patient, your life could be much more fulfilled, better fulfilled. So I don't see any more questions. Is there anything else you would like to leave with us, Karla?
No. I would just say, just do the best you can. And I know diabetes and pre-diabetes are on the rise with the pandemic. Because of the pandemic, we have been shut in for 2 years. I encourage people to go outside, actually to walk, get some fresh air, and also try to eat more vegetables. If you eat pizza, you want to do more salad. You always want to pair something up with everything. So always try to do more vegetables. Trying to drink more water, but also just try to do a little bit better job of cutting down on the carbs, because carbs turn down to sugar, and sugar turns in, your body turns into fat. And again, I'm here as a wonderful resources for Kidney Trail. I say thank you for this opportunity. Again, you can find me, I'm on IG, Karla's Nutrition Tips, Karla Nutrition Tips, or you can always find me by my name on LinkedIn. And I'm welcome to any questions, or anybody have anything or a topic I love to explore. I love to, research different things in nutrition, because things are, is always evolving, and the kidney diet is always changing.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate your time and effort. So for all of those out in the social media world, we're going to go ahead and end the live stream. This video will be available to watch on our social media channels. So if you missed any of the sessions, you're more than welcome to go back and rewatch. And if you have any other questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to Karla through any of the social media networks that she has provided or stated. Thank y'all. Have a great day.